Yo, 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 what it do, what it do, what it do. Episode 13, Axis of Combat. It's your boy Ray Boogie, my co-host.
Hugo the boss, Hugo got next, Hugo back in black. And before we kick off UFC Charlotte, please be sure, guys, to follow, subscribe, comment, like on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
And everybody watching on YouTube right now, like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to stay up to date, hit that notification bell.
And for all of our audio listeners, as usual, follow, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcast. You already know.
So before we kick off this card here, UFC Charlotte, I'm going to go recap our bets from last week. Drum roll, please. We'll kick it off with me, I guess, since I had such a good week. Got, let's see, half unit on Gracie sub. That was whack. That fight was terrible. I got a unit on Jandiroba straight. That hit. Put a unit on Holmes money line. That was a terrible bet. Terrible. Put 2 units on my boy Bilal Muhammad. Remember the name. Easy money. Put a unit on Yeon. Only thing I regret is I didn't put 2 units on Yeon. I'm saying it would have been payday. But, you know, it was a solid payday. But, and then I put 2 units on Cejudo, split decision, but went Sterling's way. Also put half unit on a parlay here with Parker Porter money line and Jekawu money line. Had another half unit parlay, Hawes and Aliskarov under, actually over. And the Everloff and Lopez over. Missed on one leg there. And then half unit parlay on Dober knockout and Chaos knockout.
Said that Dave Chappelle skit.
I was so wrong. Then my brother here. We'll start with his parlay first. Half unit parlay. Bilal Muhammad and Burns fight to start round 3 parlay with the Njeku money line. He had half unit on Chaos KO, half unit on Dober KO, 1 unit on Bilal, 1 unit on Njeku straight, 1 unit on Yeon, and 1 unit on Cejudo. Overall, he had a slightly better night than I did, you know. He finished 2.31 units up. I finished 1.23 units up. We in the money, though. So, you know, this is how we do.
Yeah, I would have been in a much better position if I didn't put Cejudo later in the car. I should have just left it alone because I knew how close that fight was going to be, but I was having such a good night. I said, you know what? Why not? I think he is going to win the fight. He loses by split decision.
But, you know, your boy put his nuts on the table. You know what I'm saying? I put 2 units on Cejudo. Yeah, it didn't work out, though, but I still finished plus. You know
it's all good. So. It's all good. I guess that makes you a better man than me. Oh, my goodness.
All right, and now we got UFC Charlotte. Main event, Rozenstruik Almeida. Former main event, Anthony Smith Walker.
Yeah, just before you even start, man, this card is oof. It's a little oof, guys. It is on ABC, and it will be starting earlier in the day, just as a heads up. It starts at like 11 Eastern time, I think so.
11:30 Eastern.
Yeah, which is pretty early for a UFC card.
Which is like, I think it's like 8:30 on the West Coast.
Yeah,
in the morning.
Which is crazy.
Breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast, UFC for breakfast, UFC for some lunch, for some brunch, but no UFC for dinner.
I mean, I like the old early cards low-key because, you know.
Yeah.
Get your day started right now. I'm saying you wake up, roll over, bam, fights.
You're not wrong. Maybe some of my friends might want to hang out with me this weekend since I'm not preoccupied watching UFC.
You know, 100 opens up the night, know what I'm saying? You're trying to get it in, know what I'm saying? Or you're trying to get it in, know what I'm saying? The options is open, know what I'm saying? So,
oh my goodness.
So early cards, I mess with the early cards heavy. So
yeah, it's not a bad look for sure. But yep, you can definitely start it off, my brother.
All right, first fight we got on the card here. It is a flyweight fight, and it's going to be Jessica Rose Clark versus Tainara Lisboa. Excuse me. We got Jess 11-8, Lost her last 2 fights. 35 years old, Australian, fighting the debuting Thai Panther. Thai Panther. I don't know what kind of nickname that is. The Thai Panther. Lisboa. 5-2.
Panda.
3-fight win streak. 32 years old, Brazilian. The way I'm leaning on this fight is probably low key. I think I'm gonna go the upset. I'm gonna go Lisboa because I can't trust Jessica Rose Clark. I think she's got. I think if it stays striking, I mean Lisboa, Muay Thai champ. I think she could bang, but like Rose Clark, what she should do is probably grapple her, probably wrestle her. She might. But I don't know. I don't like betting Jessica Rose Clark fights. So I'm gonna. This is dog a passing me. I'm going Lisboa. What about you?
I'm staying away from this fight. That's one. First and foremost, this is a fight that if there's a couple of fights in this card, guys. If you bet them, you need serious mental health. Mental help. So
I think we should stop saying that because we bet these kind of fights sometimes.
Which fights did we bet sometimes? Dontel Mays?
Dontel Mays.
I learned one time and that was it. Jessica Rose Clark, I learned one time that was it.
Oh, yeah?
You bet Parker Porter, he paid off for you this weekend, but who you going to fade him against next weekend? I don't know.
Sherman.
Yeah, I mean, listen, those heavyweight fights, that was a one and done for me. I'll never do that again, and I think I'm just staying away from this fight. If you look at Lisboa, I agree with you. She should have an advantage on the feet, but she's fought nobody. She's fought little nobodies. No disrespect to her, and it's her debut.
She fought
Valentina and Muay Thai.
Yeah, but I'm not counting that. That was in 2010.
Yeah,
I'm more impressed with her MMA debut that she fought. What's her name?
Dumont, right?
Dumont. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still.
Even though she got waxed by Dumont at the end, but
I'm still not sold on her. I'm not, and I just say I think Jessica Rose Clark should win this fight. She's better. She's the better all-around fighter, and that's why I'm not going to put money on this. I'm not going to.
I'm not saying I'm going to bet it either, but
Yeah, the lean for me is Jessica Rose Clark. I think she's the better fighter.
I'm leaning the upset.
Yeah,
and but I'm probably not going to bet it. But
no, you probably shouldn't, because I definitely won't. I think this is 1-800-GAMBLERS fight, 100%. I do not. I just don't like any part of this fight. I don't trust. You're right. I just, you can't trust Jessica Rose Clark to implement great fight IQ, even against a girl that she should beat.
I mean, she don't got to worry about arm bars here. I don't think.
This is what I'm saying. This girl's not. She's good if she gets on top of you, but she's not like a prominent. She's not a prominent jiu-jitsu grappler. With a good guard. I just see Jessica winning this fight. I do. I think she can control it with the wrestling, and she seems to lean on the wrestling even in her last 2 fights against 2 armbar experts. So, which she paid the price for, and I thought that was a silly move. But if she implements that same game plan, she wins this fight. So, Jessica Rose Clark for the lean. 1-800-GAMBLERS. Go get help if you need it. We can move on to the next fight. I think that we pretty much covered it there, but.
All right, next fight we got here is Gabe Green going against Bryan battle. Welterweight fight, 170. We got Gabe Gifting Green, 11-4. Lost his last fight. 30 years old, fighting out of Downey, California. Bryan the Butcher, 8-2. Lost his last fight. 28 years old, and he, I think, is the only hometown guy here. Fighting out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I think I like Bryan battle here. I mean, I'm a big Gabe Green fan. I like his style.
Yep.
But I think Bryan battle, even though he got kind of mopped by Frakadinov, I think he's a little more. I think he's better on his back and on the ground than
people want to give him credit for.
Yeah,
no question.
And I think he's more active. He'll throw more strikes, and he's just a bigger dude overall. You know, so I think I'm leaning Bryan battle for the fight.
I agree with you, and I think Gabe Green. I hate fading Gabe Green. He's made us money on this podcast, so I love him. He does have a path to victory with the wrestling.
He does.
Thing is, he doesn't really use it.
No.
I would like to see if Bryan is silly enough to wrestle him.
I think he will be.
Yeah, which is crazy. But the thing is, I don't think Gabe is gonna have a clear advantage over Gabe on the floor either.
Exactly.
I said Gabe, right? Bryan is going to have a clear advantage over Gabe on the floor.
I don't think. I think it's pretty even on the ground, low key.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, but I don't know.
I agree 100%. I like Bryan's volume, and I like that his last name is Battle. So for those reasons, I'm leaning. I just gave you homeboy's name. What's his name? His name that gives to Sadiq Yusuf. His breakdown.
Oh yeah, that was a Sadiq breakdown there.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
ride with a dude named Battle.
Yeah, I'm riding with the guy named and I feel like this is a dog or pass fight, low key. And Bryan's the dog right now, and that's because I think this fight's gonna. It could be close, but I think it could be a one-sided ass whipping by Bryan too.
Yeah, I didn't look at the lines. I just I don't know.
Bryan's plus 115.
Like, and I'm not the biggest Bryan Battle fan either, but
because he does make questionable decisions in there,
Yeah.
but Gabe does too.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I think Bryan wins this fight.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lean Battle because I don't know. For me, I think his output's higher.
I agree.
And I don't think he's gonna be as outmatched on the ground. That's all.
I agree. He does have slick submissions. He definitely does. So, but yeah, on to the next one.
Next fight, we got a banger here. On God, we got Jim Young Kim versus Mandy Böhm. This is a flyweight fight, 125. Jin Young Kim, the Fire Fist, 6-2. Actually, no, 9-6-2. 4-fight losing streak. 33 years old, South Korean. And Mandy Böhm, the Monster, 7-2. 2-fight losing streak. 33 years old, and she is German. I think this is like a loser go home kind of fight. Very low level, but I'm leaning Jin Young Kim. She's probably the favorite. I'm leaning Jin Young Kim only because she's shown that she has a pulse in the UFC ring, and I thought her fight with Cachoeira was it's pretty sick, even though she lost that fight. And I kind of throw the fight that she had with what's her name, Jocelyn Edwards, out the window because she kind of took that last minute and a weight class up. And even there she looked okay, but she wasn't I mean, listen, both these girls aren't really that spectacular, but I'm gonna lean the person with a pulse. But I'm probably not gonna bet it because
1-800-GAMBLERS.
Yeah, this is a rough fight.
This is a terrible fight, and I agree with you on the lean. The thing is with Jin Young Kim, she's probably gonna win in the optics of the judges as well too, because I'm not lying to you guys. I forgot what fight it is. If I ever find it, I'm gonna let you guys know. I might even tweet about it. There's a fight where there's like a good 3 minutes into the fight, and she's hitting nothing but air. It's like she's shadow boxing with the person that she's fighting.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to bet on someone that does that because it's like she's gonna hit air more than she hits the person. So Mandy Böhm, though, does not belong in the UFC.
Yeah,
no disrespect to that girl. I think she's still young.
Her regional footage don't look bad. That's the thing, right? But ever since she got beat up by fucking what's her name? The Princess of Pain, or what the fuck is her name?
Lipsky.
Lipsky, yeah.
Who also
which is her only win in the UFC, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, that was her last fight, right?
I don't know. I don't know actually.
Lipsky won her last fight too.
Oh, so Lipsky got 2 wins.
Lipsky's one of her wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think Mandy belongs in the UFC, man. I'm trying not to be too hard on her, man, but it's just real. It's just reality, unfortunately. I don't think she belongs in the UFC. And I think Jin Young Kim, I agree, at least has a pulse in there. I think she wins this fight.
Yeah, at least she's got some tenacity. She can take a punch. I could see Böhm maybe just pushing her up against the cage, maybe, and then kind of just beating her up there. But I don't think so because, like I said, this girl, she stays pretty active on her feet, and I think she's gonna have more output, even though she's probably gonna miss more than she hit. She's gonna look like she's throwing more. So she's got a chin on her.
She does.
And Mandy Böhm's got put on the ass twice by what's her name? Lipsky. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, this is very low level MMA, guys. Like shit that you should probably stay away from. Very dangerous stuff to bet on. And, I agree with a lot of people in terms of is it worth the stress? Like that terminology, because if you bet Jun Yong Kim in this fight, you are going to be grabbing your chest, having panic attacks throughout the whole thing. That's how I genuinely feel about it. And I don't think I'm going to put my money anywhere near this fight just for my health. Just for my health and my sanity, you know? So I'm not over here digging myself into an early grave. And my brother, all right, here is going to have to do the podcast by himself because I suffered a gruesome death watching that fight. You know, so I'm done beating on this fight. So yeah, we could definitely move on to the next one. So
next fight we got here is at lightweight, and we got lethal Natan Levy versus dead game Pete Rodriguez. Natan Levy 8-1, 2-fight winning streak, 31 years old, Israel. He's an Israelite. He was born in Israel.
Yep.
And we got Pete Rodriguez here, dead game, 5-1. One fight he won his last fight. 26 years old, fighting out of Arizona. I think my lean here is going to be Levy. This is probably another fight I'm probably not going to bet, only because I think this is just a lot of question marks for Pete Rodriguez. I mean, this is like the third time he's moved down in weight. Also, he's got to make weight again because this fight was scheduled like a week or two ago.
Yep.
This is his first time at 155. His debut fight was against Della Mandalena, and that was like a short notice fight. You got to throw that one out the window. He got washed in that one. But then his next fight was like Mike Jackson, and he washed his ass.
Took him to the cleaners, boy.
So it's like, this is what I got, right?
That boy to the laundromat.
And they both finished like in the first round. So it's like, okay, I know Pete Rodriguez is not as good as Jack, but he's better than Mike.
Hey, come on. Mike Jackson.
Mike Jackson.
No, not Michael Jackson. Mike Jackson.
But like, that's like, and that's the only information I have. I know he hits hard. I don't know what's his, what he looks like outside, the second. I mean, I think he's been to the second round once, but we don't know his cardio. We don't know if he's got any kind of wrestling, if he's got any kind of wrestling defense. Just a lot of question marks. And then 155. It's not like Levy's got like the greatest chin, but he's got decent striking. I mean, he comes from a striking background, but I mean, ever since being in UFC, all you see is him wrestling. So
yeah.
So I'm just gonna lean on the guy who I just have a better read on, but I don't know if I'm gonna bet this fight, only because Pete Rodriguez could come and clean him out too. So I don't know.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, and MMA media has been kind of getting this wrong, and I've been paying attention, and one thing that they're not mentioning, they're making it sound like Natan Levy has a superb gas tank. He definitely doesn't. Yeah. That's another reason why, if he had a better gas tank, I'd take a shot on him. And I'm not saying I'm not, I'm just saying I'm more than likely not to take a shot on him because, he's fighting a bigger guy. Natan does have good striking, as you said, but I just don't trust his gas tank to hold up to get anybody out of there. He's very scary to bet on, man. I mean, he's lean as hell, too. If you see him, he's jacked. But muscles don't win fights. None of that shit matters. It's honestly just, will his gas tank hold up long enough for him to pack this boy up? Or, could he possibly fade and then Rodriguez could get him late? And then what's Rodriguez's gas tank look like with the weight cut as well as like past the first round?
True.
Who knows? Like this is a messy fight, man. And when you have to think about it this much, guys, it's probably safer to stay away from it. It's not like Cejudo and Aljamain last weekend. Even though it was a lot to think about, there's a body of work for Cejudo. There's a body of work for Aljo. You can lean a certain way. These two, not so much. Natan has 9 fights. Pete Rodriguez has 6, and not a lot of them in the UFC. Yep. It's. Stay away. Yeah.
It's just tough to get a read on.
Tough to get a read on this,
especially on the Rodriguez side.
I agree.
So
Natan's the lean, but probably not going to bet this fight.
Yeah.
So on to a fight that we will probably be betting.
All right. Next fight here we got in the bantamweight division: Cody Stamann versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. Cody the Spartan Stamann, 21-5-1, 2-fight winning streak. Fighting out of Sparta, Michigan, 33 years old, versus De Silva here, Douglas De Silva, 28-5, lost his last fight, 37 years old, Brazilian. I was going back and forth on this one, and I think I'm leaning Stamann, and probably Stamann by decision. I think it's going to be pretty interesting if the fight stays standing. Douglas, I think, is the slightly bigger guy with the slightly longer reach, but Stamann's boxing is
Pretty good.
pretty solid. It's pretty solid boxing. I think he's got the quicker hands as well. But Silva's got the Silva. What's his name? Douglas De Silva, the Andrade. I think he's got the power, but Stamann's got a chin. I think it goes to decision, and if it goes to decision, it might be split decision. It could go. I could see Andrade. I could see a world where Andrade is winning by a split decision as well. Yeah, Stamann's my lean, and don't know how I'm gonna bet it yet. What about you?
Yeah, I think Stamann's the lean as well. I like him by decision. It's plus 100. Not only does he have, I think, the quicker hands, and I think his boxing is underrated. I agree with you there. He has the better wrestling, in my opinion. I think he knows how to turn corners, and even if you look at him against that Song Yadong fight, that fight said a lot, because Song's a big, strong dude, and he was already working at Alpha Male with killers, and he was able to get him to the floor and control him in certain spots. I like Cody Stamann here. I like him via decision. And by the way, guys, another reason I like him is because, and I was mentioning to you before the podcast started, Douglas Silva de Andrade is a big puncher. But Cody Stamann in 27 fights has not been dropped once or knocked out for obvious purposes if he hasn't gotten dropped. So I'm going to lean on a guy with a great chin, great wrestling pedigree, tenacious dog to get this fight done via decision. I think he's going to get done via decision.
Next fight, we got Karl Williams versus Chase Sherman. You know, can't avoid these low-level heavyweight fights. And, yeah, here we go. We got Chase Sherman, the god. You know what I'm saying? Karl Williams, 8-1. He's on a solid winning streak. I think 5 or more. I'm not too sure. I don't feel like doing the counting right now. 33 years old, fighting out of the Virgin Islands via Atlanta, Georgia, via the United States, whatever. And then we got Chase the Vanilla Gorilla, 16-11, lost his last fight, fighting out of Mississippi, 33 years old. I mean, Karl Williams.
Yeah.
There's not too much to say here. I feel bad for Sherman. I mean, we could talk about who we think Sherman could beat. Maybe Huggy Bear, what's his name? I don't remember his name.
Snoop Dogg.
Chris Barnett.
Yeah.
He could probably beat Chris Barnett.
I love Chris Barnett, so I hate saying that out loud.
He could probably.
I feel disgusting saying that out loud.
He could probably beat even the guy who Parker Porter ran over.
Yeah.
But, I mean, besides that, and those are probably his next 2 fights, low-key. But I don't think he's going to win. I think Karl Williams got the wrestling edge, and I think his hands are underrated. Chase Sherman, decent striker, obviously, but he don't got the power for heavyweight.
And fish out of water off his back.
Yeah.
I agree. There's not much to say about this fight besides Karl Williams, and I think you have to parlay Karl Williams at minus 410 somewhere. I think I will. And I also think that I don't know how to pick this fight in terms of how it's going to end because Karl Williams isn't the most prolific finisher. He's just not. So, if you're going to pick him via knockout, are you sure about that? And if you're going to pick him via decision, are you sure about that? So
I don't know. I think he's got a good chance to finish Sherman here, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's just not he should have finished the last guy he fought. And that guy is worse than Chase Sherman.
I don't think anybody's worse than Chase Sherman.
I don't know about that, man. We'll see because think about it this way. He has 9 fights, right? One of them's a loss. The other 3 knockouts. The other 1, 5 decisions. Karl Williams. I don't know how he wins this fight. He should finish Chase. You willing to bet on it though? I don't know. I think Karl Williams for a parlay for sure. I think he definitely gets him out of there. So, I think he definitely wins. I just don't know if he gets him out of there. So, but yeah, we could. There's not much to say about that fight. We could definitely move on.
All right, next fight. It looks like it's the main event for the prelims here. We got Matt Brown versus Court McGee. And they're fighting for the elderly belt over here.
Oh my goodness!
We got 42-year-old Matt Brown, the immortal, literally the immortal. 23-19, lost his last fight. Cincinnati, Ohio boy, fighting Court the Crusher McGee. 21-11, lost his last fight as well. Fighting out of Utah, 38 years old. I think this fight, like 5 years ago, would have been sick. I mean, it's still probably going to be good now. But my lean is probably going to be McGee, maybe. I don't know how to feel about this fight.
Yeah, this fight, I like Court McGee.
I'm just gonna go to the younger guy.
Yeah, and I mean Matt Bryan, I think is 42 years old.
Yeah,
You know, and I think his last fight was it against Bryan Barberena?
Was it? I'm not too sure. Actually.
I'm gonna double check that right now. But
I got you.
What I will say is I like Court because Court can implement a wrestling game plan and control him. And Court is super, like, I mean, he fought Smellersberger and he was doing well in that fight till he got caught.
Yeah.
You know, Smellersberger, you seen in his last fight against Jeremiah Wells. He's fucking good, man.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Jeremiah Wells is Jeremiah Wells. Like, I know he got clapped, like, in the first 15 seconds of that fight, but, like, I'm throwing that one out the window because Jeremiah does that to almost everybody.
I agree. Yeah, and if I'm being honest, I just think Court he's gonna better game plan for this fight. And I don't know how Matt's gonna deal with his wrestling. I just think also that Court is just his fight IQ is really good.
Possible retirement fight, possible double retirement fight. Who knows?
But I also I don't even know how this fight gets finished or if it gets finished. That's what's scary about betting this fight. Because if it was Matt Brown from 5 years ago, I would pick this fight to go to decision.
And I'd probably pick Matt Brown.
Interesting. I don't know. Because I just think Court's underrated. I don't think he's looked at. I respect what I just think Court's underrated. And if it was 5 years ago, I would trust Matt Brown's chin to hold up. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold up to the barrage anymore. Like he gets touched on the chin once on the floor with some ground and pound, the fight might get stopped. So I don't know if I'm going to bet this fight, how I'm going to bet it. But definitely follow us on the social media platforms and we'll keep you updated with how that goes. But I want to touch this, but I don't. Like, it's weird. You know, this is a scary fight. It's just hard betting on two old dudes.
Yeah.
You know, but Court's the lean. I just don't know how Court gets it done. And by the way, the Bryan Barberena fight with Matt Brown, I thought he won that fight.
Yeah.
I thought he won that fight.
But again, this is another one of those instances where I think like 5 years ago, I think Matt Brown would have dusted Barberena.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But he won that fight in my opinion. It went to decision, but I thought he won that fight. I thought it was a BS decision, but yeah, Court's the lean for me.
All right, next fight to kick off the prelims. I mean, to kick off the main card. I apologize. It is the Dirty Bird versus the Great White. I don't know how they got a bird and a shark in the ring here. No, I'm capping. Tim Means versus Alex Morono. Tim Means, another old head here, 39 years old. His record is 32-14-1, 2-fight losing streak at the moment, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he's going against the Great White Alex Morono, 28-8. Lost his last fight. I think that was the Santiago Pontenario. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, 32 years old. And I think this fight is gonna be good. And I could see this fight going to decision because, you know, Dirty Bird's 39 years old, but he's a little more he's savvy.
He's very savvy.
But I'm leaning Morono. I think Morono gets it done. I think Morono wins, and I think Morono wins by decision. What about you?
This fight scares me for a couple of reasons. Tim Means from 2-3 years ago, I would have said this fight goes to decision. And Morono beats him via decision. Thing is, his chin hasn't looked great lately, man. And he's also, I think, 39 years old. Oh, man. It's just like the last fight. I don't know, like, how to bet it because I'm not sure if the chins of these older gentlemen are going to hold up long enough, whether it's with some ground and pound or with, you know, a well-placed shot.
Yeah.
Morono hits dumb hard, though, so... And listen, he's shut me up before. I thought he was winning that Santiago Ponzinibbio fight till he got stopped.
Yeah, and I kind of see it playing out the same way, but without the finish. But I don't know. I mean, it could finish. Who knows?
Yeah, it's crazy. And like I said, I don't know. It's not that I love Tim Means, man. I think this guy is great. I think he is a great fighter. I think he's one of the most untalked about fighters in UFC history. And And I'm willing to go that far because he's so technical. He's so good. He knows where to be, where not to be. But if you just look at his last couple of fights, like he got stopped via darts choke by Kevin Holland. Max Griffin put him on his butt a couple of times. What's homeboy's name? He's fighting Morono, which makes sense. Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm really re-looking at it. Yeah, I could see this fight going to decision. I definitely could because Nico Price knocked him out 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. D-Rod stopped him 3 years ago.
And like for me, it's like more on the Morono side. Like Morono could the same way he was fighting like Santiago, where he was popping him, but like he wasn't
committing and throwing in combination.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Tim Means has also been throwing up a lot of wrestling coach videos. He might retire after this fight too, which is crazy.
He could. There'll be a lot of retirements in Charlotte on him.
But it's like him and Donald Cerrone are kind of the same fighter in a lot of ways. Like their wrestling is underrated as shit. Mm-hmm. And I think Tim, if Morono overextends, Tim could body lock him, take him down. And he has a very slick ground game, Tim. So you're right. I do. You know what? The more I think about it, I think Morono by decision's the move here.
I think so. The only thing that scares me, I mean, because like again,
39 years old.
It's 39 years old, and this is Morono with a camp. Like Morono's usually just getting off the couch and fighting dudes.
Yeah, so
and then making it competitive. Like this is Morono with a camp now.
Yep.
And like I think his most impressive fight for me was like not his last fight, but his fight against Sellemsberger, where he was like, so you know we seen Sellemsberger go against Jeremiah Wells. That dude is tough, and Morono was kind of like matching him power for power and kind of ragdolling him a little bit in the wrestling too. So it was like,
yeah, that's what scares me a little bit about picking Morono to win by decision here.
Yeah,
it scares me a little bit because Morono can crack, son. He hits dumb hard, and I just don't know if Tim Means is going to be able to stand up to what he's pitching.
Yeah.
Morono's definitely a lean here. I don't know how I'm going to bet this fight yet, and he's at minus 215 right now. That sounds about right.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can move up to the next one.
All right, next fight here is in the light heavyweight division, and this is a fight that I do not think is going to decision. We got Carlos Ulberg going against Ihor Potieria. The Black Jag, 7-1, 3-fight win streak. New Zealand boy, city kickboxing, 6'4", big boy. Potieria, you hear me? Potieria, the duelist. That's a corny nickname. 19-3, won his last fight, fighting 26 years old, fighting out of the Ukraine. This is, I think, Ulberg.
Absolutely suck.
I'm going to put that out there immediately.
I mean, I don't. Okay.
I want to hear this.
No. You're right. You're right. You know, because, I be trying to cape for these corny ass fighters and whack ass fighters. But you know what? Let's keep it a buck. I think Ulberg probably washes him and probably washes him quick first round.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a chance Potieria could like clap him? Yeah, sure. I mean, he's Ukrainian, so he's got the +5 durability automatically and +5 toughness. So sure, there's a chance, but Ulberg has just got everything going for him. He's got the looks, he's got the swag, he's got the power, both hands, and coming out of a good gym. Like I like city kickboxing. Those guys like to game plan. If this is Ulberg first round KO, probably easy.
Yeah, and Ihor Potieria, just so you guys know, this is the guy they matched up against Shogun in his last fight, hoping Shogun was going to go out on a W. And Shogun actually touched him a little bit in that fight before Potieria took him out. And when you're in there with a guy with like Ulberg, who trains with Stylebender, trains with Volkanovski, and he's a sniper of a puncher, I just think you have to lean here Carlos Ulberg by knockout. And that's matter of fact, I'm going to confirm that that's a bet I will be making, guys. I'm confirming that I will be making a bet on Carlos Ulberg by knockout.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Carlos Ulberg knockout first round. I'm probably gonna get real greasy with it, and depending how juicy the second round is, just in case it gets to the second round, because like I said, he's Ukrainian, so he's got that +5 durability automatically. But yeah, I mean, and then if you want to do MMA math, they both have one common opponent, one recent common opponent, Nigger Muriano, and Nigger Muriano washed Potieria. Washed him. But then Ulberg fought him, washed him. So MMA math dictates Ulberg better than Nikolai Nuragimiano, better than Potieria. So we're doing the maths here.
That's that Scott Steiner math.
Ulberg
You take your
wins.
88 and 2/3 chances of winning.
Multiply it over the second division of whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the damn promo.
You take the axis of the sun, you know? 50-degree axis. Where the Milky Way meets the Big Dipper. You know what I'm saying? No, I agree with you. I think we pretty much, we got it. Karl Ulberg by knockout. I like the under round and a half. I like this in a couple of parlay spots too. We'll definitely release that, but for sure I'm picking Carlos by knockout.
All right, next fight here we got is the featured bout. Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, Ian Machado, the future Garry. I don't know. Sure. Okay. Like I said, featured bout, welterweight, 170. We got D-Rod here who lost his last fight, but he is 17-3 overall. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 36 years old. Ian Machado, Garry, the future. 11-0, 11-fight win streak. 25 years old. Fighting out of Ireland. But I think he's been training in the United States. He's with Killcliff. Yeah, Killcliff. Good fight. Good test for Ian. Lean is Ian. Don't know if it's gonna get. I'm a little muddy on the whether it's gonna get finished or decision. I think I'm leaning an Ian decision. Maybe a sneaky Ian sub, but D-Rod could catch him early because Ian's a slow starter. You know, he takes his time in the beginning. He's a builder, but yeah, I think this is a good test for Ian to see where he's at. Ian's the side. I think I don't know what else to say.
I think Ian's the lean, but I think D-Rod might be the bet, and here's why: because I don't think D-Rod is plus 245 in this fight. I think this fight's gonna be close.
True,
and I think this is one of those plays, guys, where the dogs might be barking, and I think this line is super disrespectful to Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel Rodriguez has really good takedown defense, very slick boxing, not intimidated by anybody or anything, does pressure, especially Ian straight. Like Ian takes his time. He's a builder. He takes his time in the fight. And the thing is, unlike Ian's last opponent, this guy is not as silly as his last opponent. I think his name was like Jun Yong Kim. I think his name was. That guy had a left hook and an overhand. That was it. Daniel Rodriguez has much slicker boxing than him and much better takedown defense.
Song Kanan.
Yeah, Song Kanan, sorry. I don't see... Ian should win this fight. He does have some holes defensively, which is why I'm weary. I just don't think the line should be... He shouldn't be 3-1 against Daniel. I just don't agree with that. I think this fight is way closer. I think I might have to take a shot on Daniel Rodriguez as a bet. I really do. This line is very disrespectful in my opinion.
I mean, I guess I don't disagree with you there. I guess if the line starts, growing in Rodriguez's side,
which is what's happening, because he was like a plus 205 the other day. Now he's a plus 245. I think he touches plus 300 or even close to plus 300.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think the dog shot is valid right there. To be honest,
but Ian should win this fight. It's just he does have holes, and the thing is, I also do worry that he's taking this fight a little too soon, because homeboy almost killed him the last fight. Like literally, if that round was a couple of like 30 seconds longer, that fight gets stopped. And like Ian was hurt. And it was Ian's most impressive performance because he got hurt and came back and stopped him. But if you want the real, like, I don't know how I feel about fighters taking fights that quickly, like on the return, because it is terrifying. It is very terrifying stuff. I think D-Rod might be the bet here. Just I think the dogs are barking. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I think that's, Ian the lean, Daniel Rodriguez the possible bet. And I'm going to let that line grow as much as it can.
All right, on to the co-main event. Another light heavyweight fight. And we have Anthony Smith going one-on-one with Johnny Walker. Anthony Smith here, 36-17-0. Lost his last fight, fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska, 34 years old, but he's like an old 34 years old. Going against Johnny Walker here, 20-7, 2-fight win streak. Brazilian fighting out of SBG Ireland, 31 years old. This fight is
violence.
Yeah. Violence. I think I'm gonna go Johnny here. And I know it's a little scary because both these guys are, line steppers. You don't know which version of which guy is gonna show up at any time. But Johnny has been getting his shit together lately, and he's been fighting with a game plan and putting it together. And Anthony Smith, even though I do think he's gonna come in with a chip on his shoulder because he kind of got dogged out his last fight. He's supposed to be fighting Jamal Hill, and then they pulled that fight, and then now Jamal Hill's the champ. So he's kind of, got slighted there. And then he found out live on TV. That was kind of embarrassing. But Anthony Smith, he's another guy where, he's 34, but he's 38 because he's got 50 fights, probably more that we don't even know about. Can't get rocked. You've seen him get knocked down and knocked out multiple times. Johnny Walker, bigger, faster, and he's been fighting smarter lately. So that, I think Johnny Walker's the side for me here, but I don't know how I'm going to bet it at the moment.
Well, the over under the rounds is 1.5, and it's at -145 and +115. That might be the way to play this. I don't see this fight going to decision at all. Johnny's chin is very questionable.
True.
I also think that Anthony Smith might be a lot more shop-worn than people, than people want to give him credit for. I don't want to disrespect him because he was doing okay up until he fought Ankalaev, and he really only loses to elite competition. But I do think that Johnny Walker is an elite level talent. I do. I think
his elite level potential.
Oh my God, his athleticism is absurd. Yeah. And out of his last 4 losses, he's lost to 2 guys, Thiago and Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill, the current champion, and Thiago, Thiago out of the UFC just popped for PEDs, but that dude took Jamal Hill to the graveyard and then came back out. They both came out alive, but Jamal Hill a little more alive than him.
Yep.
And he lost to Thiago via decision. But since then, Paul Craig, who's been beating everyone via submission, as soon as, people think it wasn't, that was kind of fluky. It was just a power. But as soon as Paul Craig grabbed his leg, he wanted to hit him with that right hand. He almost they game plan for it. Ian Kudalaba wore him out a little bit, took him out later in the round. I do like Johnny here. I like the youth. I like the power. I like that he's got better fight IQ, like you said. I think he's making
better fight IQ.
Yeah, he's got better fight IQ as of late. Not compared to Anthony Smith. I think what's going to rule, if Anthony Smith and him had the same dimensions and the same level of athleticism and less wear on the tires, I'd pick Anthony Smith all day. Yeah. But
this fight was a couple of years ago. This would be Anthony Smith all day, I feel like.
All day. But I just think Johnny's finally putting it together, just like our homegirl Yeon, who cashed for us last week, and just like the other homeboy we mentioned the other day, that I think, Njeku, another guy that cashed for us last week, and he's just finally putting it together. And I got to go Johnny Walker here. I felt bad for Anthony Smith because he's supposed to fight Jamal Hill, but I think I think he can win this fight. There's definitely a path to victory. I
also feel like Anthony Smith's juggling a lot too, because, he's doing a lot of on-camera work for the UFC. He's got 2 jobs essentially to do. He's a fighter and a what do you call that? Commentator, analyst, that. So it's I know he's going to be putting in the work, but where his head's at at the moment, and whether he's still hung up on the fact that he's getting screwed over or this and that. I don't know where his headspace is at, and like I said, Johnny Walker's been putting it together. So
yeah, you can't you can't fight emotional against Johnny Walker. You get put out that way. You just do. And listen, if you look at his last couple of fights, like Devin Clark, Jimmy Crute, Ryan Spann, he won all those fights by decision. The Jimmy Crute fight, he won that via TKO technically because of the leg. The leg shut off with a kick. But do I see that happening against Johnny Walker? No. But all his other fights, if he's not losing, he's winning by submission. I don't see him subbing Johnny Walker. I just don't see it happening.
I mean, I think it's possible.
It's possible. I just don't see it happening. I think Johnny's too athletic, and even though he doesn't have the best takedown defense, he's so strong and athletic, it's going to be very hard to hold him down.
Now, I can see like a club and sub situation where he just clips him, you know, and then Johnny gets rocked, and then I can see Anthony jumping on his back.
That's the only way it happens. But I don't see Anthony physically taking him down and holding him down. Yeah. I don't see it happening. Johnny's way bigger than him.
And I think Johnny knows that coming in. I think Johnny's going to fight at least a decent plan until, you know, something doesn't go right for him, and then, you know, all hell breaks loose. Yeah. And then I'm just going to lean on his athleticism to get it done, you know?
Yeah, I'm
flying knee or something.
We're picking the bigger guy with the bigger gun.
Yeah.
In a gunfight, you know? So I agree. I think this fight's going to stay standing, and I think Johnny's just much more dangerous than Anthony on the feet at this point in their career. Anthony has the more technical boxing. I don't see him catching Johnny. Like the way
I can see Johnny tearing up his legs with leg kicks.
I agree.
You know,
I agree, which is what Ankalaev did the last fight.
Yeah.
You know, and I pretty much stopped him with the leg kicks. Ground and pound stopped the fight, but his leg was tore up.
Yeah.
Shut off the nerve. And Johnny does have the capability of kicking legs. I agree with you. I like Johnny here.
I can see Johnny standing guillotine too, low key.
Yeah, Johnny the finish. But this fight, I'm definitely picking violence, and maybe even Johnny straight, because it's a pick'em. It's -110 with Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker. There's a reason for that, though, right?
Yeah.
But I think the lean is definitely Johnny. The bet is most likely going to be violence. This fight, I think, definitely goes under a round and a half, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll figure it out as it gets closer to the fight. I want to see these guys on the scales, too, and face off.
I want to see a lot of guys on the scales. Pause.
Yeah. So, but on to the main event now.
Main event. We got Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Jailton Almeida. Biggie boy, Rozenstruik, 13-4, won his last fight, fighting out of Suriname, 35 years old, fighting, I don't know how to say this guy's nickname, Jailton Almeida, 18-2. I think he's like on a 6 or 7 fight win streak. Who knows? 13 fight win streak. Some crazy. 31 years old, Brazilian. Man, I like Biggie boy. But my lean is going to be Almeida. Does Almeida get him out in the first round? Maybe. I think Almeida gets it done. I don't think this goes to decision. I think 5 rounds is a lot for both these guys. Give me Almeida inside the distance, because I could see him subbing. I could see him just, you know, pounding him out, pause, until the referee jumps in. And that first or second round, I think under 2.5, maybe even under 1.5 hits. Who knows?
No, I agree with you. One thing I will say, like, this is a heavyweight fight, so a lot of things can happen.
Oh, 100%.
But what I can assure you is that Jailton Almeida will not stand with Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
I mean,
I can assure that he is not going to do the Curtis Blade, Sergey Popovich. I don't see it.
I could see a world where Jailton wants to test his striking.
I don't see it.
I hope not.
Jailton's not stupid.
I'm with you.
Because if he wanted to test his striking, he would have done it against the lower tiered opponents that he's fought.
That's true.
And he has not. He shoots for his takedowns, and this guy is a gorilla.
Yeah.
Like, he picks dudes up and he puts dudes down. So as long as he could get on a single and he's going to take Rozenstruik down. I think, and listen, they moved this fight. I think this fight was the co-headliner. They moved it to the headliner over Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker. And I think it's because they're hoping, the UFC is hoping and trying to premiere Jailton Almeida.
And I think they just want to give him 5-round experience, right? Because, like, if he wins this, like, he's automatically catapulted into the rankings now. And, like, you know, because, like, what's I don't even know what Rozenstruik is ranked, but I know he's ranked. Yeah. Give him that 5-round experience, even though I don't think this is going 5 rounds. Blast his name all over ABC, you know, as your headliner, as the future of the heavyweight division here.
And light heavyweight, too. He's more of a light heavyweight, which is crazy. He's just taking fights at heavyweight because he's having a hard time getting fights at light heavyweight. And then he's like, well, listen, if you guys aren't going to make me weight cut, I'm just going to go and beat up a whole bunch of heavyweights. And I think stylistically, this fight makes a lot of sense for him.
Yeah.
Avoid the big punches from Biggie Boy, which, don't get me wrong, is easier said than done. This dude can crack. He's literally only lost to Volkov, Ngannou, Cyril Gane and Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
The elite of this division. Do I think Jailton has the same body of work? No. But does he have the potential to be an elite fighter? Yes, he does.
Yeah.
His grappling is, this fight hits the floor, he's dead. He's dead meat. You know, and Jailton's grappling is legit. Big boy too, man. And, you know, I think his wrestling's underrated too, and very underrated. And you've seen him, like some of these heavyweights he fought, yeah, they're low tier, but some of them are like 265, and he picks them up like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
Like picks them up, like, you know, Shamil Akhmadonov, that dude is humongous.
Yeah.
Parker Porter is a 265er.
Yeah. Well,
Peter Porker.
At the time he was, yeah. His last fight he cut down to like 240.
Look great.
It looked good too.
Yeah. Parker Porter was 265 at that time. And he picked him up. He picked him up and put him down like it was nobody's business. Yeah. Like he just looked at, like he could have just stood over Parker.
Child's play, boy.
Child's play.
Yeah.
Just bullied him. And this guy's a 205er moving up. You know what I'm saying? He's just a gorilla of a man. Like, I like Jailton. I like Jailton via sub, maybe even Jailton via sub via first round. This fight, I don't think goes over. Either the Biggie Boy's going to pack him up or Jailton, which can happen. It can definitely happen.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be pretty interesting because, I mean, I'm assuming Biggie Boy knows that, you know, the grappling's coming, right? So he's had to be training that, right? But
yeah, and he did this, and Jairzinho did go to decision with Curtis Blades, but Curtis Blades is not the submission threat that Jailton is. He's just not. Like, he's going to threaten him with chokes on the way up. He's going to wrist ride him on the other side, make sure he doesn't get up. Mm-hmm. Then as opposed to Curtis, he's going to go and he's going to pass and try to get his back. If he gets his back, he's going to flatten him out and smash him.
Yeah.
Or sub him. Jailton the finish.
I agree.
So I think that about covers it, huh?
Hey, that's it.
That's a nice short one.
Hey, man. I mean, just, you know, straight to the point. And I know I should talk about on this card. This card is, you know, it's all right.
Yeah, it's a little low tier.
So
on ABC, though.
It's on ABC, though, which is weird. But, you know, hey, man, you know.
Yeah. But gentlemen, ladies, if you guys are watching, love you guys. Follow and like on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And everybody watching right now on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to stay up to date, hit that notification bell so you get all the latest and greatest updates.
And for all of our audio listeners, you already know, Google, Apple, Spotify, podcast platforms. Love you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Straight to the point. This card does not have a lot of fireworks, even though some of these fights are really good. But
could be a low-key banger, but you know.
There's some money to be made on this card.
I think so.
I think so too. So follow us on all those social media platforms. You already know.
Episode 13 in the books, baby.
Keep you guys up to date. Love y'all. Holla at y'all.
Take it easy, man.